In all of my time being independent, I have never felt the need for there to be a show that focuses on the truth about royal news rather than the propaganda being pushed by the Royal Rota out of London or the ludicrous Hollywood press operating out of Montecito. Harry and Meghan were dumped by Netflix. I revealed that 2 years ago. At the same time, I also revealed that there would be some type of face-saving first look deal. It doesn't mean that this isn't a disaster for them. It doesn't mean that they're now in deep, deep financial doo-doo. What it means is that just like with Barack and Michelle Obama, Ted Sarandos, the Netflix chief executive, doesn't want to lose his influential friends. But trust me, what you're seeing from the mainstream media who are proudly trumpeting this renewal of the deal between Harry and Meghan and Netflix do not know what they're talking about. They are simply repeating press releases. I mean, I couldn't believe it on my former show on GB News last night. They rolled out the establishment Jenny Bond to say, oh, we've all got to eat some humble pie now.
Fact of the matter is, they have won. Meghan has won. And we have to eat humble pie.
No, we don't, Jenny Bond. No, we don't. Because what you're saying is simply not a fact. The deal is over. I've worked in the entertainment industry for 3 decades now. A first look deal of the kind now negotiated between Netflix and Harry and Meghan means exactly that. There's no golden handcuffs deal. There's no big payday, regardless of what they produce. Indeed, you could argue that this type of deal actually constrains Harry and Meghan, because what it means is that all of the content that they conceptualize and that they potentially want to develop or produce has to go by Netflix first. Then Netflix decides, we're sort of into this. We don't believe this is going to make any money. Then it goes onto the free market. A first look deal is worth a tiny, tiny fraction of the $100 million. Plus, that was paid to them first time round. But as Meghan's mole posted on this, WhatsApp was on fire. Meghan sent out her talking points to her favourite royal reporters, the same UK reporters Meghan called Archie the N-word. And there they all are, Roy and Nika, Cameron Walker of GB News, Christopher Shipp. The propagandists were out in force, heralding Meghan had won. But in fact, what was most interesting is that actually, if you look at the liberal American press, the woke American media that for so long were in Harry and Meghan's pockets, they're completely agreeing with me. Take the New York Times, which accurately reported this deal under the headline, Netflix loosens its ties to Harry and Meghan. Within the article, they reveal Netflix is keeping its ties to Prince Harry and his wife Meghan, but those ties are getting looser. The production company for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has signed a new deal with Netflix, the two companies announced Monday morning, but it's worth less for the royals than their last arrangement with the streaming giant, a person familiar with the deal said. Then, this brilliant reporter was able to actually call out the fact that the first deal was a flop. Because remember, Archewell had intended to make inspirational family programming and documentaries, docuseries, feature films, scripted shows and children's television under its earlier deal. But it hasn't made any children's television, feature films or scripted shows. And then, are you ready for the real truth bomb? From the New York Times, no less. There have also been tensions between Netflix and Archewell through the years, according to 3 people with knowledge of the relationship. The streaming giant found out about the release date of Harry's memoir, Spare, just a few months before the documentary series about the couple was set to debut, said the people, who would speak only on the condition of anonymity. The Netflix series was released in 2 batches on December the 8th and 15th. Spare was released on January the 10th. That upset some Netflix executives because the book covered some of the same ground as the series, undercutting the exclusive nature of the show. An Archewell spokeswoman, Meredith K. Maines, she who leaked the peace talks with the palace, and a Netflix spokeswoman, Emily Feingold, both said there was no tension between the two companies, calling the idea false. Okay, this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious because you've now reached the point where Harry and Meghan are calling the New York Times, which first trumpeted the $100 million deal those 5 years ago, the New York Times where Meghan chose to publish her miscarriage revelation. They are now calling the New York Times the propagators of fake news. That just shows you how far down they have fallen. What about the Times of London, which is pretty much on the side of Harry and Meghan too? Well, they also decided to cover the story accurately. Harry and Meghan signed watered-down deal with Netflix, reporting that it is some way short of the golden handcuff style agreement for any output that was signed 5 years ago for a reported £74 million and will be far less lucrative. Archwell is working on a number of other shows for Netflix's consideration. They include Masaka Kids, A Rhythm Within, a documentary about orphan children in Uganda's Masaka region, where the shadows of the HIV/AIDS crisis linger, as well as a feature adaptation of the best-selling romantic novel by Carly Fortune, Meet Me at the Lake. If Netflix opts out, the couple will be free to offer them to other broadcasters. Don't all bid for those ones at once! The Hollywood Reporter, which is long considered the Bible of entertainment reporting, also accurate. So credit here to the Hollywood Reporter. And remember, the Hollywood Reporter was also the ones that revealed that Meghan was bullying the staff in Hollywood. There's the headline. Netflix downgrades Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to a first look deal, just like the Obamas. And then the article reveals the overall to first look extension mirrors the move Netflix made recently with Barack and Michelle, as well as others for their Higher Ground banner. In both cases, the exclusivity carried by their respective splashy original deals has been removed. And with that means any type of guaranteed income. And that's what Harry and Meghan desperately need, given they decided to go to Hollywood and choose to have the overheads of an Ellen DeGeneres and an Oprah Winfrey because they were so confident in their plans succeeding. So to hell with GB News and ITV News and the Sunday Times, which is, even the Mail actually, via Charlotte Griffiths, which is carrying the false narrative on this. Where are the voices that you can trust? Let me take you through some of them. According to Taz Posted, there is no renewal of their Netflix contract. It has not been extended. They are simply under a new set of terms of first refusal for any of their ideas. Given the boring crap they have come up with so far and the fact they have no work ethics, treat everyone like shit and are lazy, I doubt we will see much. Netflix are just keeping them on because they want first dibs on the divorce deal or if they decide to trash the royals again. They have completely been downgraded with no contractual ties that Netflix has to spend a penny on any more of their boring, vapid, and vanity-driven shows. And she's completely right. That is what has happened with this deal. What about the royal rogue? He posted, I don't see many royal commentators being specific about the kind of contract the Harcourts are doing with Netflix now. This is not a renewal. A first look deal is just giving Netflix the right to be the first one to take a look at whatever Archwell Productions comes up with next. Then Netflix decides if they hop on the project or pass, that's it. And when you think about that, that is a huge issue for Harry and Meghan because previously what they had with Netflix and Spotify were partners that, because they were paying them so much money, were actually invested in them coming up with good content, yet it still didn't work. Now they just don't give a damn either way. Nancy Sidley had an interesting point comparing what's happened with the Obamas too. She wrote, Higher Ground is the name of the Obamas production. Let's look at what they've been up to since Netflix didn't renew their contract and put them on a first look deal. Damn. Because of course what they've been up to is Michelle bearing her soul and the relationship difficulties in a trashy podcast with her brother. Is that the path Meghan Markle is now going to have to take? Because the altruistic content was just rubbish. From George the Giant Slayer, Meghan and Harry put out a press release to save face from being fired by praising their Netflix deal. The Hollywood Reporter just threw a pie in their face. And from the Royal News Network, commenting on this analysis from Sly News, ludicrous analysis, which said Netflix deal a demotion, but the company still see them as a power couple. Oh, do they? Do they, Rhiannon? As Royal News Network said, only time will truly tell. But I do think it's telling that Netflix only announced one With Love Meghan holiday special, not a third season. If they were confident in the second season, they would announce season 3 as Netflix did with One Piece. And that's very true when you think about that. So despite having months and months knowing what's coming, there was only one piece of new content confirmed yesterday. And that piece of content was the Christmas special to With Love Meghan, which is a bit of a no-brainer. We'll come to that in a moment because, of course, it goes puts her head-to-head with Catherine, the Princess of Wales. I also really love this from HRH Lady Jane, who really looked into the Sussexes Netflix PR spin versus the reality. And take a look at this, the comparison between the 2020 deal and the 2025 deal. So in the 2020 deal, it was an overall production deal, 5 years, up to $100 million, broad discretion to choose their own projects, high-funded entire slate, no performance clause, and of course, there was multiple projects that were going to come out of it regardless of the performance. Now it's a first look deal. We don't know the length. We don't know if there was any guaranteed upfront, but it's likely they say that they will be paid per approved project, which of course creatively Netflix must want to go with. The risk to Netflix is low because it can pass on unprofitable concepts with the performance approval tied to projected successes. And of course, there you see only one project confirmed. And it's not a surprise. Let's look at the Netflix viewership data table, and you will see these stark failures since that first reality series, Harry and Meghan. The others barely even get off the ground. I mean, utterly embarrassing. The Heart to Invictus, Live to Lead, and Polo. And With Love, Meghan hardly did much better. Lady Colin Campbell, she's been across this just like I have right from the start. And she posted, "You really couldn't make any of this up."
Waiting for divorce. That's the shocking phrase royal commentator Angela Levin has tied to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle as new revelations emerge about the collapse of their Netflix deal and what really went on behind the scenes. Were Meghan and Harry victims of mainstream media spin? Or is the end of this multi-million-dollar contract proof that their royal brand is in crisis? Let's break it down. Back in 2020, Harry and Meghan signed a reported $100 million partnership with Netflix. The idea? To produce documentaries, films, children's shows, all showcasing their values and vision. But fast forward to 2023 to 2024, and things began to fall apart. Projects were scrapped. Pearl, Meghan's animated series, was canceled before it even launched. And Netflix insiders quietly admitted that the couple simply weren't delivering enough content to justify the price tag. When news broke of Netflix cutting ties with the Sussexes, mainstream media jumped on it.
He and Meghan are trying to present as a success their failure to strike a concrete agreement with Netflix, which would have bound that streamer to pay them an agreed sum for an agreed project. For some time now, I've been making the point that Netflix would give them the barest minimum if it entered into another agreement with them. It is gratifying to see that my Hollywood information was correct, but this is not good news for Harry and Meghan or their marriage. This is a financial disaster for them, no matter how you cut it. In the interest of keeping the crazies and snarers at bay, the remainder of this posting will be limited to her subscribers, although it's very hard to keep the crazies at bay when it comes to Harry and Meghan. And of course, there's a really grim part of this deal, and we know exactly why Meghan is wanting to do it. Catherine, Together at Christmas, her big carols event, which is broadcast on ITV in the United Kingdom, but also around the world, has become a genuine sensation for her. Together at Christmas, positive, very altruistic, focused on her goals, a great opportunity to bring brilliant people together, and also, let's be honest, an amazing opportunity to show off her very precious family at a time of year that has always been associated with the royal family. So Meghan has seen what Catherine has done, and remember, Together at Christmas is very much a television project which she has worked hand in hand on with woke ITV when the British bashing corporation, the BBC, managed to annoy Catherine and William so significantly. But as Matt Wilkinson, the royal editor of The Sun, points out with his look inside the Netflix deal, it's a first look pay-per-show deal, but Netflix is funding Archwell production staffing and office costs. Netflix partner with As Ever. Meg's holiday special may clash with Kate's Christmas Carol concert. No plans for new Harry and Meghan doc. Unclear if Harry features on screen. But as according to Taz pointed out, she is in no doubts that Meghan would push for that date specifically because she's obsessed with Catherine and trying to outshine her. Sorry, love, but that's like comparing a turd to a diamond. And you do really have to wonder what on earth this pair, the Harkles, really know about Christmas. As Royally Sage pointed out, the Harkles ruined Christmas for their kids, pointing out that during a conversation with Marie Claire, Markle revealed that she loves the holidays and the holidays get better each year as her kids grow older. She revealed that at first they didn't understand what was happening, but as they grow up, she's excited to see the world through their lens. Markle revealed that Prince Archie does not believe in Santa anymore. So I completely agree. There's nothing festive about Meghan Markle, is she? Family is Christmas. Christmas is family. The two things are intertwined. And of course, we know her Christmases are spent apart from everyone who was there for her in the early days, including her father, including her brother, including her sister. And it's hard to believe that even Doria wants much a part of this anymore, especially knowing that the cameras are going to be around. So Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, joins me now. Angela, why are the mainstream media and people like Jenny Bond trying to paint this as some great victory for Meghan Markle when this is a first look deal, which is actually a disaster for them, financially, reputationally, and in terms of what they're going to be able to produce?
Oh, I think it's just because they want to be nice and they want to stay in their position if they're working for any people pay TVs and they want to just keep them running. And I think it's they haven't investigated it. And I think it's completely wrong because it's nothing to say that. I know everybody's lovely. We're living in a happy world and everything's going fine. I think that's a nonsense. And particularly people like her who've been working for decades and knows so much about it, to actually fall down about saying, oh, it's wonderful and it's so lovely. It does make you feel a bit sick, actually. I'm sorry, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, my view is that you have mentioned it along the way, but my view is that they're only working with them because they're waiting for the divorce. And when that comes through, they will make absolutely a huge discussion of what they want and how awful their life was. I don't think people will believe it like they did when they did Meghan and Harry some time ago with Netflix. But I think that's what they're waiting for because that brought in masses of money. And let's face it, the company's interested in taking masses of money. That's the answer. And I think that's what they're waiting for. They don't want anyone else to catch it. And they've also got this thing that they have to show them first what they're going to do. So that means that they're not actually going to offer that or something like Harry's book, Spare Two, because that annoyed them, because that took away a lot of attention. So they'd rather just sort of make sure that they talk to them first and promise and sign it up so that when the good time comes, when they split, this is not my view, this is their view, I believe, then they've got a massive number of people going to be watching it.
Yeah, because as you point out, Angela, if there is a divorce or there is some sort of tell-all, the rules of this game is that if they want any type of TV project attached, they would have to offer it to Netflix before anyone else. And Netflix would have to have the opportunity to pay a fair price and then turn it down. So you're right. It's almost like Netflix saying, let's just see if something good comes along. Let's see if something interesting comes along. But financially, yeah, Angela, this is going to hit them very hard, which then, of course, will play into the troubled marriage too, because you know that one of the times that relationship troubles are exacerbated is when people are really struggling with money. And there's just nothing like what they had coming in anymore. I mean, to lose Spotify was bad, but to lose Spotify and Netflix within a 5-year period without any replacement of those deals, well, it's disastrous.
Yeah, I was told that it's going to be worth under half. I don't know exactly how much under half, but the money they're going to get is less than half of what they've had before. And of course, if they don't actually work hard, wash their hands and really scrub away, they're not going to get the money anyway. So we have to see whether they will work very hard. I can't imagine either of them doing that. I can imagine them coming up with an idea and then sort of saying what they want. But I can't imagine with them really working hard, because actually what they said they do, was it 1 day a month for charities? And I think that's the way they think about all these things. 2 grand to really, really work hard. And someone like you work day and night because you want to do well, and get the money in as well as actually tell us all what's going on. But I think when you're not used to that at all, I think it's very difficult to suddenly work very hard because you expect other people to do it for you.
100%. And that is the thing. If you're going into the independent media space, if you're launching your own business project, you have to live it. You have to really believe it. And they tried to help Prince Harry so much,
with some headlines declaring their careers were over. Angela Levin claims these reports weren't just biased, they were lies, designed to humiliate Harry and Meghan. She argues the couple weren't axed completely, but rather scaled back after failing to meet expectations. In other words, not a total collapse, but certainly a bruising reality check. Here's where it gets even more controversial. Levin and other critics say Hollywood, Netflix, and even parts of the media are now simply waiting for divorce. Why? Because Harry and Meghan as a couple are their brand. If they break up, the drama and profit skyrockets. That means every setback, every silence, every failed project is painted as proof their marriage is on the rocks. Whether it's true or exaggerated, here's the reality. Harry and Meghan need big wins to stay relevant in the U.S. entertainment market. Without Netflix, without Spotify, without consistent projects, they risk being seen as yesterday's story.
and he just never, ever adapted, Angela. It's like he never wanted to work. Remember, they came up with so many ideas of what he could do. And he just either didn't have the commitment or the imagination to actually do anything other than the Invictus documentary and now this new African project and Polo, which were just so route one and obvious and not interesting, and actually just really bad TV programs.
Yeah, well, I think that maybe Meghan should have helped him come up with an idea that would have been suitable for him. He's not somebody who's actually brought up to that, is he? He's just somebody who's been told what is in his diary each day. He doesn't have to do that. And I think if you're 40 and you haven't done that yet, you've really got to learn how. And I don't think Meghan's one of those wives who actually doesn't really help him. He's there for her and she needs that. But I don't think she would really sit down for a good couple of hours or even 2 days and say, let's find something that really suits you. I'm not saying she should, but he can't do it. It's just not in his brain to do that. And also he's been so upset and in trauma that he can't be bothered with it. I mean, you've got to feel positive, haven't you? It's got to bubble in you, and you've got to think, this is terrific. I really want to do that. He's still a victim for himself, and I think he can't manage to do that. It's just not in his diary.
There's been more embarrassment for Meghan Markle overnight, Angela, because Pamela Anderson is launching. Can you believe it? And remember, there's been all of this back and forth about the two of them, and did Meghan Markle rip off her cooking show, Love Pamela, and all of that. And there's also been this ongoing tension between Meghan Markle and Flamingo Estate, with lots of suggestion that actually she was originally going to buy into Flamingo Estate, but then decide to almost try and copy it with As Ever. Now, as Nancy Sidley revealed, Flamingo Estate and Pamela Anderson are doing a collab, and I'm 100% here for it. 100% of the proceeds go to rescuing, rehabilitating wildlife animals. Salty Duchess said Pamela Anderson collaborating with Flamingo Estate is nourishing. It's a spicy product, floral product with edible flowers. I can hear the plates in Montecito being smashed, because not only, Angela, is the product so similar, but what's so telling is that Pamela Anderson saying, no, I don't want to make money from this, because she is truly about charity, something Meghan Markle doesn't do. I mean, she doesn't donate even a tiny portion of her proceeds to charity, Angela, let alone the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very important. And we've seen that all the way through. You think King Charles, he does all his jams and honeys and all that goes to charity. A lot of people are doing that. The majority do that because it's a nice, genteel and gentle thing they can do. But Meghan wants it for me, me, me. And so she's not going to do that. So people just have a slightly different view of what she's doing. If it's amazing and she wants money, I think more people would buy it. But if it's a sort of boring old jam, who cares? It's just not very interesting. And why should you pay a lot of that? And I think she thinks people want to do that because it's nearly getting close to her. It's nearly getting something that she likes, that they can say, I know, Meghan's the same as me. But I don't think that's happened for a very long time. So people think about other things, that people are giving money to charity. And so they think, well, it'll be a nice Christmas or birthday present or just something delicious. And I think that picture's really lovely. It's really pretty and it's very nice. And what she's made sounds absolutely delicious. But during old, jam itself, Jam, is actually very boring. You learn it very, very early in school.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been very clear, Angela. I don't want edible flowers on anything. I don't believe in edible flowers. However, I would say Pamela's edible flowers look a lot classier than Meghan. Now,
They
Angela,
do.
what about the fact that Meghan is so desperately now trying to get in with the Kardashians? So we saw yesterday the fact that Khloe Kardashian had posted one of the As Ever gift baskets without any. That's an annotation from Meghan, by the way, in the heart shape. So Khloe just posted the picture and then Meghan annotated that wording about, my family with a K or whatever, my loves with a K in the love heart. And then overnight, Kris Jenner, who has previously had some relations with Meghan, she's been pictured with Doria before, did post, but this time she did copy in Meghan and As Ever, just saying thank you, so not actually saying whether she likes the product or not. But isn't it so interesting, Angela, just how desperate Meghan Markle is to ingratiate herself with the Kardashians?
Yes, I think she sees they're very attractive and they're seen all the time in the papers, in the magazines, and the dresses they wear are chosen and very dramatic, and their makeup's fantastic. And she wants to be like that. But just two things that they said. One was that they didn't follow Meghan's personal or Instagram account. They didn't know really who she was. Another one said, it looks like a gift from a grandma. So, I mean, they didn't actually want to say, oh, that's lovely, how nice of you. I'm not criticizing them for that. They just made a comment because Meghan's trying to push herself in. But I mean, goodness help her. If she goes amongst them and all the clothes she wears or doesn't wear, it's not going to be actually correct for a former royal person, is it? But she won't care about that. But I just think it's very, she's just trying every outlet. So you can say, well done to you if you're trying to get in there. But people aren't interested in there. They're a real group, aren't they? And they don't necessarily want people pushing in and trying to be really friendly. And apparently it was done by the two PRs. None of the people did it. At one side and the other side talked that this would be rather nice. Now, if you've got that, it doesn't mean that the ladies are going to sort of talk nicely to each other or form some sort of instant relationship. But with Meghan, she'll go around and hug them. I think she said, hey, hey, all my girls with a K. I don't think that would go down very well, do you?
It's very tacky, isn't it? Yeah, what was it? All my girls with a K. Oh, I can never read her or full calligraphy. Angela Levin.
And once Hollywood decides you're yesterday's news, you're done. So, are Harry and Meghan divorcing tomorrow? Probably not. But Angela Levin is right about one thing: the media circus thrives on the idea. Waiting for divorce isn't reporting. It's a profitable prediction. And with the Netflix deal shrinking, the Spotify partnership ending, and their royal ties weaker than ever, the Sussexes are vulnerable. They're not done yet, but the clock is ticking. So what do you think? Did Netflix really axe Harry and Meghan, or is this just media spin? And do you believe their marriage can survive the pressure, or are we really just waiting for divorce? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you enjoy royal deep dives, and don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered breakdowns of the drama behind the headlines. Because when it comes to Harry and Meghan, truth and gossip are often the same thing.